and misses. A ball and 2 strikes.
And that's Andy Pettit's favorite pitch to a right-handed hitter. He starts the ball on the inside part of the plate, and it breaks off the plate inside.
And Chipper asks for time. Gerald Williams blooped the single. Brett Boone banged a double off the wall and right. Second and third, nobody out. As you see, Jones became a much more productive hitter from the right side of the plate this year. He credits Don Baylor with getting him to be more aggressive against lefties, especially early in the count. Here's Pettit's 1-2 pitch. Swung on and bounced to third. Brocious kicks it, picks it up and throws and gets him, but a run scores.
Well, Brocious had made up his mind. He was coming to the plate, but the Braves had Gerald Williams going on contact there, and he was on his way to the plate. Now watch Brocious. He's coming to the plate with this ground ball, and he may have a shot at Gerald Williams. See, he's coming home. You can see his body position, but he misses the ball, picks it up in time, and throws a strike to first base. See, he's coming home with it, and all of a sudden he loses it. Now he's quick enough to pick it up and throw a strike to Martinez at first base.
Boone stayed at second. Here's the cleanup man, Brian Jordan. Ball 1 to him. Brian is 0 for 7 in the World Series, but narrowly missed a home run in the first inning of Game 2. The wind kept his drive to left in the park. Two 2-0. Andrew Jones on deck.
This is the first time the Braves have been able to break out on top and think that they have a chance to do something here against the Yankees. Offensively, that is.
A hitter's pitch. And taken high and away, 3-0.
And they put a little pressure on the Yankees. They forced Brocious to have to decide whether to go to first base or come home with that ball, and he didn't field it cleanly. So a lot of things change the way a team can play if you can put a little more pressure on them and be a little more aggressive yourself.
Taken for strike 1. Andy Pettit is 27 years old, 6'5", 220, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. In first inning trouble in Game 3, and he walks Brian Jordan. Now here comes Andrew Jones, one Atlanta Brave who for sure is happy to see Yankee Stadium. As a 19-year-old, he homered in each of his first 2 World Series at-bats in Game 1 in 1996. Andy Pettit, as you see, was the victim on the first one. That one's rolled foul. This year, in the 3 interleague games played here in July, Jones went 4 for 11 with 2 home runs. One of those homers off Mariano Rivera.
And Bobby Cox made a point of saying this is his ballpark. That's the reason they have moved him back up to 6th in the order. He hit 8th in Game 2. So Bobby thinks he has a lot of confidence here. To 5th, he's up to 5th today, I should say.
He takes a strike, 0-2. Two on, 1 out, a run already home, and Pettit's 0-2 pitch to Andrew Jones. Just off the inside corner.
Well, this is a cut fastball, and Pettit usually gets a right-hander to bite on this, and it's just off the plate, says Steve Ripley, and you can see there it appears that it was just off on the inside corner.
Jones nubs one out toward the mound. Pettit's got it. The runners move up, and there's the second out.
Well, it may not look like Atlanta's beating up on the Yankees to get the run that they have so far and get the runners in second and third, but at least I think their approach is better. I mean, they're not trying to pull off. They're not swinging too hard. They're not going for the fences, and they're hitting balls to the opposite side. He forced Chipper Jones to pull the ball because he threw him all cut fastballs inside.
So here's the DH, Jose Hernandez, the former Cub, taking a ball. He hit .266 for the year with 19 homers. Two 2-0. Eddie Perez, the catcher, waits on deck. Brett Boone at third, Brian Jordan at second with 2 out. 3-0 to Hernandez.
And Bob, the Braves have accomplished one thing already this inning. They have forced Andy Pettitte to throw 26 pitches here in the first inning. And that means that his teammates, all the guys sitting on the bench, have had an opportunity to see that. And that's what Joe Torre was saying. He said 21, but it's 26.
Hernandez swings at the 3-0, and Jeter gobbles it up. May have done Pettitte a favor. The Yankees are out of the top of the first, and the Braves score once. Back to the Bronx after this. Back at Yankee Stadium, and note the contrast concerning the first 2 hitters. Through the first 2 games, the number 1 and 2 spots in the Yankee order are 6 for 17, plus 2 walks, and an important sacrifice in Game 1 by Chuck Knobloch. Now tonight, Williams singled and Boone doubled to reverse the trend for the Braves.
Well, Bob, do we really know how healthy Tom Glavine is a question that I would ask. He's been ill. He's lost a few pounds. He's gained some of them back. I don't think we'll know if he's okay till about the 3rd inning, because it just may take a while. Let's take a look at the defense. There you see Brian Hunter's at first base. He made 2 errors in the 8th inning of Game 1, but he is a very good defensive first baseman, and Bobby Cox really likes him defensively. And they were not easy plays he made errors on in Game 1.
This may remind some of the 1991 World Series. Chuck Knobloch against Tom Glavine. Then it was Twins and Braves. In World Series play, Tom Glavine is 4-3. But in his 3 World Series losses, he's allowed only 4 earned runs in 23 innings. Look at that career World Series earned run average. Pitched 1 hit ball through 8 innings in the Game 6 clincher against the Indians in '95. Let's go downstairs to Craig Sager.
Leo Mazzoni says Tom Glavine may get hit tonight. He might lose, but I won't because he doesn't have his stuff. Some pitchers can look lousy in warm-ups, then fire a shutout. Some can throw lights out and then get hammered, but Mazzoni says Glavine has never been one of them, as warm-up was very consistent.
All right, Craig, and Knobloch slams one to right. Jordan races over, got a glove on it, and it pops out. Knobloch speeding for second. He's in there.
Well, the one thing, when you're down 2-0 and you get a chance to make the play, you're going to have to make it. I don't know exactly how they're going to score this, but Jordan reaches out. It looked like he may have lost the ball or something because he slowed up before he got there. See, right there's a bank of lights here, and you see that he may have lost it right there at the last second. They're scoring it as an error, but you see he gets there, but it did appear that he slowed up and maybe looked away from the ball. So he could have been looking into the bank of lights. Yeah, those lights right there, that's where it was, right center field.
A two-base error. And Glavine, staked to a 1-0 lead, finds the leadoff man in scoring position. Here's Jeter. 4 for 9 in the series. He skies one to right. Jordan for the catch. Knobloch tags. He'll test him. Jordan's throw. Not nearly in time.
And that's big league baseball right there by Derek Jeter. Taking the ball the other way, moving Chuck Knobloch up to third with less than 2 outs. And Jordan camps under this one. He wants to make a strong throw, but it's a little bit offline, and Knobloch runs very well, and the ball was pretty deep. You can see it's a little bit offline. I'm trying to see exactly how the Braves are going to play this. Walt Weiss is in at shortstop.
They're in on the left side and back on the right.
Boone is deep at second, and Brian Jordan deep at first base.
So they figure they've got a chance for a play at the plate or to hold Knobloch if he trickles one to the left side on a bad swing. But they're back if he pulls it. And he pops it over their heads into shallow left to tie the game. These Yankees are almost ruthlessly opportunistic. You give them the slightest chance and they pounce on it.
And that was very important for the Yankees to come right back. Now they're even again. And it doesn't give the Braves any hope of saying, okay, we're going to play from ahead in this ball game. You see, all he does is just reach out and slap it to left field, but he gets the job done. And the fact that Derek Jeter hit the ball to right field to move Knobloch to third made it much easier for Paul O'Neill to go up there with an idea of just getting the ball in play and getting the runner in from third.
Here's Bernie Williams taking a ball down and away. It's not really apt to call these Yankees the Bronx Bombers.
No.
Tino Martinez led them in homers for the second consecutive year with 28. This in a season where 45 big leaguers hit more than 30. Line drive caught by Hunter, and he steps on the bag to double O'Neill off. So it's 1-1 after 1.
NBC's coverage of the 1999 World Series is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevy will be there. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. And by E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
Over 165 feet long, the Bud 1 airship flies high over the biggest sporting events in the world. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the World Series. Bottom of the Atlanta order in the top of the second: Eddie Perez, Brian Hunter, and Walt Weiss. Ball one to Eddie. Andy Pettit was touched for a run in the top of the first. The Yankees got it right back off Tom Glavine in the bottom half with the help of a Brian Jordan error. Perez fouls it off.
And most of the hitters have tried to go the other way, but two things happen when you try to go back through the middle and the other way. It lets you see the ball a little longer, and it keeps you from swinging at a lot of bad pitches. And so far in this ball game, the Braves have not swung at a lot of bad pitches like they did the first two ball games.
Threw it by him, a ball and 2 strikes. Perez, the National League Championship Series MVP, going 10 for 20 with 2 homers against the Mets. Also did well against the Yankees in that interleague series. He was 6 for 11 here at Yankee Stadium in July. Still 1-2. This is Brian Jordan moments ago with the veteran reserve Otis Nixon talking about the ball he mishandled in right field. It was right in the middle of his glove, not off the tip or anything. Smack in the middle of the glove, and it popped out.
I think he's saying that he's lost it at the last second due to the lights.
Perez goes out of the strike zone and sits down.
We talked about how patient the Braves have been, and they had a situation with Andy Pettitte in the first inning. 3 balls, no strikes to Hernandez. Now watch. He swings at this ball, so he's way off balance. The one thing you do not do, if you're 3-0, you get a pitch you can drive. And when he came in, you're going to see Bobby Cox talking to him. And see, Bobby is basically saying, okay, I gave you the 3-0, but I want you to get a little better pitch than that.
Here's Brian Hunter. Swings on the first one and rips it to left for a 1-out single. The Braves need some production out of their first baseman.
And he's a much better hitter than he has showed us, you know, in his at-bats. And maybe that's because he has not been getting enough starts. He's actually been coming in for defense or maybe pinch hitting. And those things are very difficult to do.
Combined in this postseason, Ryan Klesko and Brian Hunter are now 7 for 42. They miss the big cat, Andres Galarraga.
No doubt about that. I mean, he's a guy that produces big runs for you with one swing of the bat.
And he's a presence in the lineup that changes the way you pitch to whoever surrounds him.
And he's a great first baseman.
So here's Walt Weiss, the switch hitting shortstop, in the 9th slot in a DH game.
One thing you can do with a guy that has a great move like Andy Pettitte, you can sit there and just try to guess and take off on his first movement.
In the dirt, Girardi can't find it. And on his way to second is Hunter.
And a good job by Hunter, because it looked like Girardi had kept the ball in front of him, but he never gave up on it. He didn't just stop. Now watch, it's a breaking ball and it goes right into the dirt. Now watch Girardi. See, it appears that he's kept the ball in front of him. Actually, it hits the foot of Walt Weiss and bounces away, and the alert Brian Hunter goes down to second base.
And the 1-0 pitch. Taken down and away. Weiss is from nearby the Bronx. Grew up in Suffern, New York, about 30 miles north of Yankee Stadium. His dad ran a magazine stand at Grand Central Station. So he's a Brave who feels pretty much at home coming to New York. The 2-0 pitch. Misses again, 3-0.
See, that's what the Braves are doing. They're not swinging at that ball that starts in the strike zone and moves out. And the reason is because they're staying on the ball a little bit longer, because they're not trying to pull everything. So they've done a good job so far. And don't be surprised if he doesn't let Weiss swing 3-0.
He takes a strike.
And I'm sure Pettitte, the fact that they swung 3-0 in the first inning tells Pettitte that if he gets behind a lot of hitters, they're going to attack. They're going to be aggressive. And he's not going to be able to just lay the 2-0 or 3-0 pitch into the strike zone.
He swings and bounces one over Pettitte. Knobloch's got it. Here's his throw, and it's true to Martinez. Always a concern these days when Knobloch has to make the play.
And again, you see Walt Weiss trying to go back through the middle, and he hits a chopper over the mound. And Knobloch has been okay when he doesn't have time to think. He just grabs it and throws to first base. And very accurate throw there. But again, it's up the middle, in which is the right way approach to take against a guy like Pettitte.
So Hunter's at third with 2 out. Gerald Williams trying to pick him up. Ball 1 with his first inning single. Williams is now 8 for 16 lifetime against Andy Pettitte. Down and away, 2-0.
Very good patience being shown by the Atlanta Braves here. They're taking those pitches off the plate, getting ahead of Pettit. You've got to do some damage once you get there, but so far they've been able to make Pettit throw a lot of pitches, and they're not biting on that sinker that's sinking just off the plate outside.
That one's in there at the knees.
And that's good patience there as well. You get a guy 2-0 and he makes a pitcher's pitch, you go ahead and take it. That pitch just nips the outside corner, and you shouldn't swing at that pitch when you have the count in your favor.
Andy Pettit has been behind in the count to a lot of hitters early in this game. Here's his 2-1 pitch. Bounce back to him. And he's out of the second.
Well, he got him to bite. We talked about the hitters making some adjustments. Watch Mel Stottlemyre. Look at his hands. He's saying they're going the other way. They're trying to go the other way. Now watch, he'll give you a motion that you're going to have to come inside eventually. So what he's basically saying is they're making adjustments. See right there, he's saying you're going to have to come inside to keep them honest. And you can tell that the Braves are trying to make some adjustments. And of course, the Mel Stottlemyre and the Yankees see them making the same adjustments we see here. So we'll see if Pettit changes and starts coming inside a little more often.
Chili Davis's first at bat of this World Series slices one down the right field line and foul. Chili was a Twin in 1991 when they faced Atlanta in the World Series. He hit 2 home runs in that series, one of them off Tom Glavine. If this is Atlanta's last stand, trying to establish themselves as the team of the decade, it's appropriate that they give the ball tonight to Glavine and tomorrow to Smoltz, because they're the only 2 players who have been with the team all the way through this run of excellence. They're the only 2 who go back to the 1991 pennant.
And a lot of times, like hitters, pitchers feed off of each other.
Broken bat roller. Weiss runs it over to Hunter to get Davis. And folks, you can log on to MSNBCSports.com for an exclusive webcast featuring the Reds All-Star Barry Larkin, who provides his analysis of the key plays and strategy in tonight's game, plus answers fan email. You can also check out real-time in-game stats complete with a box score. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. We mentioned in the last inning that Tino Martinez was again the Yankees' leading home run hitter with 28, same number that led the club last year. That is a very modest figure considering the offensive explosion all around baseball. This is not a team that bludgeons you. This is a team that's almost numbingly effective with little things, as we've seen in the first 2 games of this World Series.
Bob, I don't think we can overstate how smart they are as players and how smart they are as hitters. We saw them get behind in the count to Millwood. He'd make curveballs away. Wherever they threw it, they would go the other way with the pitches.
This ball's hit well to center. Andrew Jones going back to the track to take it in his stride. Mr. Nonchalance.
Well, he always seems to get there in time and make the play, but you're always worried because he doesn't. Look at this. I mean, he is so relaxed. Well, if you're good, you're good.
Already the real deal in center field. Hasn't found himself yet at the plate. But every baseball man will tell you he's a potential 5-tool player, a guy who could be an all-star for many, many years. He has all 5 tools. The question is, does he reach his potential in all those areas? A ball and a strike to Brocious.
And a lot of times that's a big if, Bobby, for a lot of players. But Andrew Jones, being here since he was 19 years old, I think one of these days something's just going to click and you're going to have the guy that they anticipate.
Brocious gives him another chance. And the Yankees are done in the bottom of the second. Glavine sets them down in order. Back to the Bronx after this. Between innings, an appreciative ovation for Tony Gwynn, who played here in this ballpark last October as a member of the Padres in the World Series. He won this year's Roberto Clemente Award in recognition of humanitarian efforts as well as ball-playing excellence. This season, of course, saw Gwynn reach the 3,000 hit plateau. Here's Brett Boone, who doubled to the opposite field in the first. Tied at 1, top of the third. He goes that way again toward the gap in right center field, and again it's well hit, and this one is off the 385 sign. On his way to second and holding there with a leadoff double.
Well, so far what the Braves are doing is working in that they're getting some opportunities to score some runs. They were not getting opportunities in the first 2 ball games. Watch this. He's going the other way. Doesn't try to pull a ball. That's a sinker away, and Boone finds a gap. This is excellent hitting by Brett Boone. We've seen him do this twice now, and he just slams it in the gap in right center field, almost out of the ballpark both times. Hits the wall there at the 385 mark. But a good job of adjusting here so far by the Braves. And starting this inning, Bob, Glavine had thrown only 16 pitches through 2 innings, whereas Pettit had thrown 41 just starting this inning.
He faces Chipper Jones, whose ground out to third produced a run in the first. He takes a strike. Brett Boone has now doubled in his last 3 at-bats. He had a pinch hit double in the 9th in game 2.
Going back to game 1, Bob, that's his 4th straight base hit. And look at that, 3 or 4 hits to right field. That tells you that the Braves are trying to make some adjustments against Andy Pettit. But he is pitching Chipper Jones much differently than he is the other hitters. He's thrown 2 cut fastballs inside. He's trying to keep him from hitting the ball the other way in this situation. He's thrown a couple of cut fastballs in, which makes Chipper realize he's going to have to open up and get to the ball. And that's why he hit the ground ball at third base his first time up.
And the 0-2 pitch.
There it is again.
He pushes it up the middle. Jeter fields it behind the bag, and Boone moves to third.
And he gets the job done. That was a cut fastball in again, but he just kind of pushed it up the middle, and that was very good description. Watch. He just pushes this ball off of him. He doesn't have a big swing. Watch the location. A cut fastball in, and he just draws his arms in and pushes the ball up the middle. And he's out at first base, but he gets the job done, moving Boone over to third with less than 2 outs. And they're going to play the infield in.
Against Jordan, who walked in the first and is hitless in the series.
Well, you'll see Pettit try to get him to hit a sinker and try to keep it on the infield. That one, of course, sunk too much, but he'll try to get him to hit a sinker or that cut fastball down and in. Just try to keep the ball on the infield.
Line to right, base hit. Here comes Boone, 2-1 Braves.
And the Braves, you have to give them a lot of credit. As I said before, they have a lot of pride in Atlanta, too. And these guys are showing you what they're made of. They're taking all these pitches and going the other way off of Andy Pettit. They're going to force him to come inside. Here's a sinker away again. Look at this. Beautiful hitting there by Jordan. He just takes it and goes the other way with it. I mean, everyone that's walked up there other than Chipper Jones, they've been aiming towards right field. They have forced Chipper Jones to try to pull the ball because they're just coming in off the plate.
You don't often hear the term game plan in baseball. That's
right.
A football term, but it's pretty clear the Braves have a game plan tonight.
And we talked about before, they had to change something. You can't get beat the same way over and over. You can't let the Yankee pitching staff pitch you the same way for 3 straight days and you do not make any adjustments. And so far, they've made very good adjustments.
Now Andrew Jones lays off. They check it first. He didn't go.
They've only got 2 runs, but they have 5 base hits already, and they have forced Pettit to throw a lot of pitches. So they are accomplishing a lot just in these first couple of innings, although they only have 2 runs to show for it.
A ball and a strike. The Yankees must think Glavine has it tonight because they played the infield in early in the game.
I was a little surprised at that too, Bobby, except they feel like with Glavine's sinker, if he tries to pull it, he's going to hit a chopper on the infield, and they would be able to hold Moon at third. But you saw Jordan just take the pitch and go the other way.
And the 1-1 pitch, first another throw, and Jordan's back. The Braves were running at will against the Mets, except when Kenny Rogers started game 2 with his great pickoff move. Against Pettit, they'll find it difficult to get much of a jump. Jones rolls it foul. We've talked about the Yankees coming back from 0-2 against the Braves in the '96 World Series. But just prior to that, the Braves themselves were down 3-1 to the Cardinals in the LCS and won 3 straight with their backs to the wall to get to the World Series. So both these clubs know it can be done. Jordan eyeing Pettit. Pettit comes home to Jones, who hits it in the air to shallow left. Chad Curtis coming on, won't get there. Jordan stops at second on the bloop single.
Well, Andrew drops one in the shallow left field. And I want to make a point. Every hitter that the Braves have cannot take the ball the other way. Andrew Jones is not a guy that can take the ball the other way. But he gets a fastball up. He gets jammed with it. But he gets enough of it to get it over the infield. So cut fastball in. He gets jammed. Curtis is playing a little bit towards left center field, so the ball drops in the shallow left field for a base hit. And the Braves have runners at first and second now. And the Braves guys, they know this is the game. It's, you know, if they lose today, you know, you're not going to come back and beat the Yankees 4 in a row. So this is very, very important to them.
Another chance for the DH Jose Hernandez. Swings on the first one and smacks it down the left field line. That'll be extra bases. Jordan comes home to score. Andrew Jones being waved home. He's right behind him, and he touches the plate on the double by Hernandez. It's 4-1 Atlanta.
This is one of those situations that Mel Stottlemyre was talking to Andy Pettit about on the bench. He said, you're going to have to come inside sometime to keep these guys honest. Everyone has been going the other way. He came inside, he jammed Andrew Jones, and he got a base hit. See, he tries to throw that cut fastball in on Hernandez, and he just rips it down the line. See, that pitch is inside. He was trying to make adjustments to what the Braves have been doing. And Hernandez and Jones, two guys that, in my opinion, are not going to go the other way. They're not capable of changing their hitting style. But he came in on them, and he wasn't able to get them out.
Eddie Perez fouls it off.
So he comes in on Perez again. You see Andy Pettit making adjustments to what the Braves did. So they forced him to change the style that he wanted to use starting this ball game.
Jason Grimsley, added to the World Series roster when they dropped Hideki Arabu, gets ready. Pettit works to Perez, who lines it to left. Curtis sprinting in, and he makes the catch.
Well, Andy Pettit took a little off of this breaking ball, and he gets Perez out front. See, it's a curveball. He gets him out front. And you see Pettit, he's saying, get in here and catch that. And he sees that he's going to be caught. He thought he was going to have to back up home plate if it dropped in front of Chad Curtis. But it hung up long enough for Curtis to make the play.
Now Brian Hunter, who had a sharp single to left his first time up. Down and in, ball one. 1 in the first, 3 here in the third for Atlanta. The runner breaks for third, and he's got it stolen without a play.
It's much easier to steal third base off of a left-handed pitcher than it is a right-handed pitcher because of their motion and them not being able to pick up the shortstop on a pickoff. And they're usually more deliberate going to the plate because they have the high leg kick. And you can see no chance for Joe Girardi to throw to third base as Hernandez steals it.
The 1-1 pitch to Hunter. 2 balls and a strike.
And a lot of people say, why do you steal third with 2 outs? Well, the great Maury Wills explained to me once, there are 9 different ways that you can score from third with less than 2 outs, than you can from second. So it's very important to get over there. It gives you 9 more ways that you can score.
Bouncer foul. In the first 2 games, 18 innings worth of at-bats, the Braves scored 3 runs and had 7 hits. In 2 2/3 tonight, they have 4 runs and 7 hits.
Bob, this is the beauty of baseball. We've seen the Braves make adjustments to what Pettit was doing. Now we see Pettit making adjustments to what the Braves are doing.
Off-speed breaking ball taken in the air to right, and O'Neill retreats to make the catch. Jose Hernandez 2-run double, the big blow in a 3-run inning, 4-1 Atlanta. Tom Glavine with a 3-run cushion to work with as we go to the bottom of the 3rd.
And Bob, make no mistake about it, this game's a long way from being over because the Yankees are capable of stringing an inning together as well. So you see the pitches, 16 pitches in the 2 innings. So so far he's on top of his game. And the layoff hasn't caused him any control problems. He's able to throw strikes, and he has good stuff. He's got good movement on his fastball. But it's exactly what you would expect from Tom Glavine.
His 1-0 pitch to Curtis is off the outside corner. Steve Ripley is a National League umpire. He and Glavine familiar with each other. It's often said when Glavine starts that the strike zone of the home plate umpire is a key to the game. How do you view the way Ripley's calling them?
Well, I think he's being pretty fair with both. I think he's got a pretty consistent strike zone so far, and I don't think he's missed any pitches. He looks like he's making good calls. The players are not complaining. I think that's the key for me. You know, you may have one player complain here or there, but if you have a lot of players complaining, that will tell you that his strike zone is moving all over the place.
And Curtis fouls it off. Glavine, when he's sharp, lives on the outside corner. If the plate umpire says, well, an inch off the corner's a strike, Glavine goes there until he gets it to be 2 inches or 3. And if he gets it out there, you're finished.
Well, I think it works that way with he and Maddox. They're very similar type pitchers. Smoltz and Millwood a little more overpowering. They pitch a little different. They get a little bit more of the plate.
Curtis pops it into shallow left. Gerald Williams will take care of it.
Well, Bob, right there we saw Glavine make an adjustment 2 pitches away, and then he came in on Curtis and he wasn't able to handle it. You see, mixes speeds well. He will not give in to hitters, meaning that if he gets behind 2-0 as he did there to Chad Curtis, he's not going to throw a ball down the middle of the plate and say hit it. And he's a good athlete like all the Braves pitchers. They feel their positions exceptionally well.
Girardi, the catcher, hitting 9th and taking a ball when the scouting report says that Glavine is a great all-round athlete. They're not blowing smoke.
Right.
He was taken in the 2nd round by the Braves, in the 4th round by the NHL's LA Kings. In the air to deep right, Brian Jordan going back, track, wall, leaps, and pulls it down. Well, that makes up for the error in the 1st.
Well, he gave him one, and now he takes one away. Good job by Brian Jordan. Brian Jordan's an excellent right fielder, so when he missed the ball in the 1st inning, I really believe the lights had something to do with it. He goes back, times his leap perfectly. Look at that. Falls into the wall, but he knows he's done his job. Keeps his eyes on the ball right there. Look at that. Yeah, you see right there, he kept his eyes on the ball completely. Now watch this in the first inning. His eyes trying to turn away at the last second. Right there, you can see him turn his head, and I think it was because of the lights and on the bank of lights here behind third base.
Here's Knobloch. It was Chuck's drive that Jordan dropped in the bottom of the first. Girardi straps the tools back on. 2 out, nobody on in the Yankee third. Line to left, in there for extra bases. It goes to the wall with Williams in pursuit. Knobloch with a 2-out double.
Well, he's hit the ball hard twice off of Glavine. We mentioned Brian Jordan wasn't able to run the other one down. He got there and dropped it. 1 ball, no strike count. Glavine trying to get the outside part of the plate, and he gets most of the outside corner. Knobloch pulls it down the line for a base hit. Right into the corner. And the Yankees have a 2-out threat here.
Despite his uncertain fielding, Knobloch remains productive at the plate in this postseason. Glavine to Jeter. Off-speed breaking ball misses. And Perez pays a visit to the mound. Tom Glavine is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, a 4-time 20-game winner, a 6-time All-Star. He is building near Hall of Fame credentials. Andy Pettit in a 4-1 hole, but Jeter could draw them one closer with a hit here. He cuts and misses.
Well, Jeter went out of the strike zone there. It's a fastball that tails away and up. And you see out of Jeter's zone. This will be up and off the plate. See it outside of the strike zone.
2-1.
And that's what you're talking about. He went like 3 inches off the plate. Jeter bit. He went 4 inches off. He does not bite.
Glavine beat the Yankees here 6-2 in July. He lost Game 3 of the '96 World Series in Atlanta to David Cone. 3 balls and a strike.
There's El Duque looking over the scouting report of the hitters and pointing something out to Jose Posada. Jorge Posada, I should say.
Jeter sitting on a 3-1 pitch. On the corner, even though Jeter thought he had the walk.
Well, this is what the scouting report says. He will not give in. The count is 3 balls and 1 strike. He's not going to give in. He tries to hit the outside edge, and he gets the call. And you have to remember, Paul O'Neill is on deck. So he doesn't want to give Jeter, maybe the Yankees' best hitter at this time, something to hit.
Got him looking.
Beautiful right there.
Jeter says, was that a strike? Says Ripley, believe it or not, it was.
Last 2 pitches to Derek Jeter. This one's toward the outside corner. It's called a strike. This is 3-2 now. This pitch here appears to be a strike to me. But what happens is Jeter's thinking, look, the plate is only 17 inches wide. If 1 is a strike, look at that. He says, wow, right there. He says, if 1 is a strike over the outside corner, that last one can't be a strike on the inside corner if the plate is only 17 inches wide.
But as we said, if that's the way they'll be called, it's Tom Glavine's night. Jeter's still thinking about it as Pettit brings the 1-0 home to Walt Weiss.
The problem, Bob, is he'll still be thinking about it when he steps in the batter's box next time up as well. Because you'll say, well, if he's going to stay away, I've got to go away. But if he comes inside, as he did on the 3-2 pitch, then I can't look away.
There's a strike, 2-1. His first time up, Weiss sent a bouncer over the mound, and Chuck Knobloch made a nice running play on it. A bouncer, Pettit's got it. That takes care of Weiss. And now that the all-century team has been selected, Major League Baseball and MasterCard want you, the fans, to name the starting lineup. Just log on to MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the official postseason site of Major League Baseball, to vote for your starters. The fan starting lineup will be announced tomorrow night during Game 4 of the World Series right here on NBC. Man, it was hard enough to select 30 players, and a lot of very worthy people had to be left off. How in the world do you whittle it down to a starting 9? Gerald Williams luffs a bunt, takes a ball. Gerald is singled and grounded out. We talked about the top of the Atlanta order. Tonight, they've gotten it done. Looks like he's taking until he gets a strike, which is very unlike Gerald Williams, a free swinger by reputation.
But I think he set the tone, Bob, in the first inning by going the other way. Boone followed by going the other way. We've seen Jordan go the other way.
He swings on the 2-0 pitch, lifts it to deep center. Williams back, way back, and it's off the top of the wall. Williams, make it Gerald Williams, not Bernie, who's chasing it down, heads for third as the ball bounced halfway back to the infield, and he's in with a triple. Gerald Williams sending it over the head of his buddy and former teammate Bernie Williams for a 1-out triple.
Well, he got the count in his favor. He gets a pitch and he tries to hammer it, but he doesn't try to pull it. He goes straight away. Now this ball stays in the ballpark. Bernie thought it might go out. So watch, he'll leap a little too quickly, and the ball's coming down behind him, and it hits the wall. And by the time they get it back in, Gerald Williams is at third base with a triple.
The infield comes in, and Boone swings on the first one and grounds it over third for extra bases. Gerald Williams trots home. Boone with his 4th consecutive double, 3 in this game and 1 in the 9th inning of Game 2. 5-1 Braves.
And I tell you what, you have to give Brett Boone a lot of credit. He went the other way with 2 fastballs tailing away. He's smart enough to know that Pettit's not going to throw it out there again for him to slap it the other way. He waits for the ball inside. It looks like it's a curveball. It may be a cutter, but it's something inside. Look at that, inside, and he pulls it down the line for a base hit. The other pitchers were out away from him, and he went the other way. This is the breaking ball in, and he pulls it inside the bag. Nothing Brocious could do, and he drives in another run, and he goes to second base with a double. So we have seen a good Braves attack tonight against Andy Pettitte.
By no means is this game over. 5-1, the 4th inning. But tomorrow night, John Smoltz against Roger Clemens. You might give Smoltz at this stage, considering the way they've each pitched of late, you might give him the edge in that matchup. We could be looking at a situation where the Braves have a decent chance to tie this series. Jason Grimsley has been throwing for a while. It doesn't get any easier for Pettitte now that Stottlemyre has completed his visit to the mound. Here's Chipper. He's grounded out twice.
And in the last 10 ball games, I mean, the Yankees are 10-0 in their last 10 World Series ball games. Their starting pitching has been very, very good, and they've done the rest with their offense. I don't know if they'll know how to win coming in if they have to go to the bullpen early.
Yankee Stadium means something to Chipper Jones. As we mentioned earlier in the series, his dad idolized Mickey Mantle. Chipper felt the same. Met the Yankee great at age 20 when he was just coming up in baseball and described himself as frozen, totally speechless. Mantle stuck out his hand, said, "I heard you're a good ball player, a switch hitter like me." Big smile on the mixed face. Chipper was like Ralph Cramden. Ahamina, hamina, hamina, hamina. The 0-1 pitch to him. There goes Boone for third. Girardi's throw.
Well, you see the game plan of the Braves. They feel like they can steal third base off of Pettit, although they can't steal second base. Boone gets a, I think his lead was a little too short. Watch, he's going to be out by just a hair there at third base. He just didn't have a big enough lead at second base. Good job there by Brocious for the swipe tag.
And Chipper pops it into foul ground. Girardi over for a look, and it's on top of the Yankee dugout.
You can always steal third base off a left-hander. You can run him into the ground if you want to be aggressive. Boone actually reaches with his right hand, pulls it away, and then he tries to come in with his left hand. If he would have gone straight in with his right hand, I think he would have beat the throw. I think he would have beaten the throw if he would have gone straight in with his right hand. But again, you see Bobby Cox being aggressive.
And the 1-2 pitch is lined to center. It's in there for a hit. Williams over to cut it off and hold him to a single.
That was a high cut fastball from Pettit to Chipper Jones, and Joe's coming out. Joe realizes that a 2-0 lead in a 7-game series is not a lot.
He wants Grimsley, and Pettit lasts just 3 2/3, gives up 5 runs and 10 hits.
Well, Chipper Jones had started to swing the bat well. He's the only Brave that has a hit in both games. Gets the slider, lines it into left center field, and the Braves are on the attack.
Grimsley in, and a very grim Andy Pettit to the dugout.
I think Andy Pettit was the victim of the Braves making adjustments to what happened in the first 2 ball games, of how they were pitching him according to the scouting report, and the Braves have made some adjustments. I think they would have hit Cone a little better if he was pitching tonight, or even Hernandez if he would have been the 3rd game pitcher rather than the 1st and 2nd.
Ball 1 to Brian Jordan.
And this is what the Braves have wanted to do. They want to get into the pen early. They want to, see the Yankees' second line pitching.
Hey. 2-0. What were the odds about a year ago that Jason Grimsley would see the World Series? He was in the minor leagues in 1997 and 98. A non-roster invitee to Yankee camp this spring. Made the team, went 7-2 with a good ERA, and added to the roster for the World Series. He's knocked around his whole big league career. Started with the Phillies in the late 80s. Was in the minors for a stretch. Then he was with the Indians, the Angels, back in the minors. And now on the mound at Yankee Stadium in the World Series. His 2-0 pitch misses.
Well, Boone was thrown out trying to steal third, Bob, but I think it was a good play. I really do. I think the Braves being aggressive tonight, showing that they're not going to just sit around and fold up their tent. Just put some pressure on the Yankees. See how they play with pressure on them. This is super slow motion. Now, I thought if he put his right hand forward, he would have been safer. You see, brings his left hand in. The swipe tag there by Brocious appears that it may have missed him, but I think the umpire made the proper call because it appeared that Brocious made a good, solid tag.
Chipper Jones breaks, and Girardi doesn't have to throw. It's ball 4.
Let's take a look at the hits against Pettit this inning. Gerald Williams worked the 2-0 count, got a sinker away, and drove it over the head of Bernie Williams in center field. Then Boone gets a breaking ball, and he pulled it down the line after hitting 2 fastballs the other way. Chipper Jones high cut fastball, and he finds the gap in left center field. So the Braves have just made some adjustments tonight, and Andy Pettit wasn't able to keep them from swinging the bats as well as they have. I mean, they have been swinging the bats very well tonight. And we talked about that. Even though they only had 2 runs in the 2nd and 3rd inning, they were putting pressure on the Yankees. They were doing things. They were getting opportunities to score runs. And you see right there, they're going over the scouting report on Grimsley right now. Boone and Don Baylor. They're talking about how he pitches, what he throws on 2-1 pitches, what he throws the count 3-1. To right-handers. They have a right-handed scouting report and one for left-handed hitters. High technology.
Andrew Jones hits a little bloop back of second, and Knobloch takes it. So the Braves settle for 1 and build their lead to 5-1 after 3.5.
NBC's coverage of the 1999 World Series is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Fidelity Investments, we help you invest responsibly. By 1010-220, dial it and talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, helping you play longer and stronger when it counts the most. Gatorade, is it in you?
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. I'm Jim Gray. Well, it had been a very quiet Yankee dugout, but this half inning there was a lot more chatter, a lot more enthusiasm. Guys saying this is the inning to do it. Let's chip away. There's an awful lot of baseball left. Be patient, guys, one at a time. Over to Craig Sager with the Braves.
So far, things going the way the Braves had planned. As Joe mentioned, their scouting report was excellent. Bobby Wine, along with Don Baylor and Bobby Cox, said Pettit likes to pitch away with nobody on base. Go away. Pitch, hit the opposite field with men on base. Look for the cutter in and pull it. Bob?
Paul O'Neill checked his swing. And let's see what the ruling is here from the plate umpire, Steve Ripley.
Well, he's out because the ball rolls out onto the plate. Watch. He checked his swing. And you know, Ripley's saying the ball didn't hit him. It can hit in foul territory as long as it goes fair. It's a fair ball. And watch, he checks his swing. The ball hits behind home plate.
Sure, that's a fair ball, and
bounces
Perez
out in front, and
Perez just going to tag him.
Up.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch the ball hit. The ball will hit right back here behind home plate. Right there, you see it hit, and Paul O'Neill stands there. Now, Perez bounces out front, grabs it before it goes foul, and you see Ripley pointing fair, and he tags him out. Out number 1.
Alert play by Eddie Perez. And a ball to Bernie Williams. The intense O'Neill displeased, but he has no case. It was the right call. Watching Paul O'Neill during the All-Century Team ceremony, I thought he was among the players most touched by it all.
I think he has a sense of history, and I think he grew up in Cincinnati, and he saw Johnny Bench and Pete Rose out there, you know, guys that he idolized as a kid, and I think it was great for him.
Boone throws Bernie Williams out. He said afterwards that seeing Ted Williams, and there isn't anybody who tries to hit a baseball at the major league level that doesn't have high regard for Ted Williams, that doesn't get chills when in his presence. To see Ted Williams in his 80s now and slowed by a series of strokes, helped up onto that stage by Willie Mays and Ken Griffey Jr., 2 different generations of fabulous center fielders. There was something about that whole scene that touched everybody. And O'Neill confessed afterwards he had tears in his eyes. Here's Chili Davis. In his 19th year in the major leagues at age 39, there's talk that this could be the end of the line for him. He says he doesn't want to play for any other team but the Yankees, and the Yankees have to make some roster decisions.
'91, and then 1998. Here he is again. 1999 World Series. I guarantee he appreciated 1998 a lot more than the first one. Just because I think as the older you get, you realize I may not have another opportunity, and you take the time to smell the roses, as they say. The first time you go to a World Series, you say, well, I'll be back next year anyway. You forget how difficult it is to get to the World Series.
Is that how it was for you?
Very, very much so. The first one, I just thought I was supposed to be there every year, you know. And then after that, you realize it's tough to get back.
Well, now, wait a minute. You'd started with the Astros. You
Right.
couldn't have gotten the idea. That was an entitlement.
Yeah, but the first year in Cincinnati, we won. The next year, we win the division again. I mean, you say, hey, it's easy. Well, it is easy. Bench, Rose, Perez, Foster, you know, Sparky Anderson, all those guys. It's easy that way. And Derek Jeter's, it's like his first 4 years. This is his third time being in a World Series. He thinks it's easy.
Fly ball to shallow right. Jordan comes in to take it. And when you run down the lineup of the Big Red Machine, don't leave out a back-to-back MVP and a Hall of Famer named Joe Morgan. David Spade in attendance tonight. How is it that guys like David Spade always get such good tickets? Just Shoot Me not seen tonight because of the World Series. Back with an all-new episode a week from tonight.
Maybe if he's not using them tomorrow, we can borrow them.
That would be a nice gesture. A ball to Hernandez, the DH who doubled home 2 in the third. So the Braves benefited by the presence of the DH, at least here in Game 3. But you'll never convince Bobby Cox that it's a better game with the DH, and Joe Torre feels the same way. A fly ball to right. Ball carrying well out there in that direction tonight. O'Neill goes to the track to take it. Once again, a shot from the Bud 1 airship. The Brewmasters at Budweiser remind you that fresh beer tastes better. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the World Series.
Bob, another reason Bobby Cox doesn't like the DH is he feels that he gets hurt because his pitchers, Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox, are better hitters than the other team can put out there.
It's just a more textured game without the DH. The National League game is chess. The American League game is checkers.
Or long ball.
Perez is struck out and lined out.
That's the Jason Grimsley we saw earlier in the year. He had a lot of movement and sink on his fastball. And then he went through a spell there where he couldn't get the ball down. But he really pitched well for the Yankees there at the beginning of the season.
Grimsley out of that compact motion, and Perez fouls it back. Grimsley, like so many pitchers who work primarily out of the bullpen, pitches from the stretch even with nobody on base. We're in the fifth on a beautiful October night at Yankee Stadium. We lucked out on the weather for Game 3. Back over Grimsley's head. Here's Knobloch from the outfield grass. Bounces it there, and it's an infield hit.
This ball is hit right back through the middle. Knobloch does a good job to get to it, but he can't get anything on the throw. Right over the glove of Grimsley. Now watch, he catches it right there, takes an extra step. He leaps in the air, but the throw is just nothing on it. And watch, he leaps in the air. Now watch, he's off balance here as he leaps in the air. His body's still going away. He throws off his back foot, and the ball just kind of rolls towards first base.
It's a hit, no question. It would have been a spectacular play to get him, but it also illustrates that Knobloch's troubles continue. The 1997 Gold Glove winner at second base, who led the league with 26 errors this year. Hunter is singled and flied to deep right. A slow roller toward Brocious. He goes to second for one. Knobloch's relay not in time. Although his throw was there.
The ball wasn't hit hard enough to turn a double play, but at least they get the lead runner. Watch this, a chopper. Brocious has to come get it. Brocious does a great job of getting the ball at second base. Knobloch takes the low throw, gets rid of it, goes over the sliding Perez, but the throw to first base not in time. Brocious comes to get it. You have to go get it if the ball's not hit hard. Knobloch fires it over and avoids the sliding Perez, but not in time at first base.
Here's Weiss switching around to the left side. He's grounded out twice. Ball one to him.
The one thing you have to be careful of if you are the Braves, you have a 5-1 lead. Glavine's pitching well, but you do not know how long he's going to stay in this ball game. the point is, I think you need to try to scratch out a few more runs to be safe here, because after all, you are in Yankee Stadium. The Yankees are capable of coming from behind late in the ball game, and you just do not know how long Glavine's going to be able to go because of his illness.
Weiss cuts and misses. Bobby Cox told us before the game that he thought that provided Glavine was on tonight, that he could go 7.
Yeah. Well, that's being optimistic, I think. But by the same token, you have to remember that the Yankees have hit the Braves bullpen pretty sharply in the first 2 ball games. So I would say that, again, don't feel safe if you're the Atlanta Braves with this 5-1 lead.
And Weiss hits it toward the hole and through. Hunter rounds second and stays there.
They're still being aggressive. They're still swinging a bat, so good. But I think you need to try to scratch out another run or 2.
This is their 12th hit.
Fastball right in the middle of the plate. And Weiss does a good job of pulling it in the hole on the right side.
Bringing up the suddenly resurgent Gerald Williams, who has singled and tripled in 3 at-bats.
And all of it started with his patience, Bob, in the first inning. He was very patient against Pettit, got a single to right field. He was very patient his next time up. Well, his 3rd time up, and he hit the ball off the center field wall.
We're only in the 5th, and everyone in the Atlanta lineup has hit safely tonight. Ball 1.
Quite a contrast. We had 6 guys looking for their first base hit going into tonight's ball game. We had Gerald Williams, Brian Jordan, Andrew Jones, all of them looking for their first hit. Hernandez, Perez, and Hunter.
A strike to Williams.
When we talked to Bobby Cox today, I said, Bobby, tonight is do or die, isn't it? And he says, not do or die, but we have to do something. And they have done something. They've come out and put 5 runs on the board.
Hunter at second, Weiss at first. And with 2 out, the 1-1 pitch. A called strike 2. In a DH game, Joe Torre is looking for Jason Grimsley to give him some innings here. On the other hand, this is still a manageable deficit. A base hit here, it starts to get out of hand.
Bob, always remember, if you're within 1 swing, meaning the grand slam can tie the ball game, you're always in the ball game.
And Williams lofts one to left. Curtis comes on, says, I've got it, and he does. The Braves leave 2. Halfway through in the Bronx. 5-1 Atlanta.
BC.
The Yankees will send up Tino Martinez, Scott Brocious, and Chad Curtis in their half of the 5th against Tom Glavine, who's looked very sharp so far. The Yankees got an unearned run in their half of the 1st, and that's it. We mentioned earlier that Tino Martinez led the Yankees with 28 home runs. That would have been the top figure on only 4 of the 29 other clubs in the major leagues. It's a measure of how resourceful this Yankee team is.
Right.
They are Bronx Bombers by nickname only, at least in '98 and '99. But they have been baseball's best team over the last couple of years. Looking for their 3rd world title in a 4-year span and their 25th world championship since the 1920s. Brett Boone throws Martinez out. And in just under 3 weeks, NBC is proud to bring you the inaugural NASCAR Pennzoil 400. As the season nears its conclusion, Dale Jarrett holds on to the lead in the race for the Drivers' Championship. Like Jarrett, his closest pursuers, Bobby Labonte and Mark Martin, are looking to win their first NASCAR points titles, too. Tune in Sunday, November 14th, as all the NASCAR heroes, including Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, Take it to the Miami Homestead Speedway for the first ever NASCAR Pennzoil 400, only on NBC.
I'm sure Bobby Cox will be watching that. He's a big NASCAR fan.
Huge.
When we're in there at Game 5, remember he had NASCAR on this television set up there we're watching.
At Shea Stadium during the LCS. A ball and a strike to Brocious, whose fly out to center in the second brought his lifetime World Series batting average beneath 500. He's now 13 for 27 in 7 World Series games. To qualify for the all-time list, you have to have 40 World Series at-bats. The highest ever World Series batting average belongs to the Yankee infielder of the DiMaggio days, Bobby Brown.
Yeah, American League president.
Yep, Dr. Bobby Brown, cardiologist in Fort Worth, Texas for a long time. 439. Lifetime World Series hitter Paul Molitor and the Cardinals' Pepper Martin are next at 418. The thing is, when you're batting around 500, that average can plummet if you go 0 for 3. It's a hard average to maintain. There's the list. And Hal McRae of the Royals in there. The 2-2 pitch. Did he go? Yep, he's gone.
Well, he tried to check his swing, but watch the barrel of the bat, and he brings it back with his wrist. Watch it go out. See the barrel, and then he brings it back. So he did go too far. Watch the barrel again. Right there, and then he brings it back with his hands. And Bobby Cox is helping him out. And Pat Corrales sitting there, Leo Mazzoni. They're all helping Steve Ripley out, but they got the call correct.
Curtis swings on the first pitch, drives one to deep right. This ball is gone. An opposite field home run by Chad Curtis. The ball is just zooming out of here to right and right center.
Exactly. This pitch is up, though. This is not what Tom Glavine was trying to do. And he gets this ball up. See, it's up, and Chad Curtis hits it, and the ball is carrying very well to right field. And that one doesn't come back. And the Yankees get one swing closer.
A ball to Girardi. Here is something that should be a concern to Bobby Cox. His team has 5 runs on 12 hits. They've left 8 men on base. The Yankees have 2 runs on 3 hits, and their first run was unearned. Now Girardi spanks one toward left center field. It drops.
If you're Bobby Cox, my concern is really not what the Yankees are doing right now. My concern is, how does Tom Glavine feel? See, a couple of pitches up again. He's normally down in the strike zone. The first 2 at-batters here, he got a sinker down away, a ground ball to second base, and a sinker down away. He struck out Brocious. But here he gets one pitch up. Chad Curtis hits it in the right field seats. He gets another pitch up, and Girardi finds a little gap in left center field. If Tom Glavine is feeling well, that 5-2 lead is enough. But if he's not, and you're going to have to get in the bullpen soon, then that's a different concern.
Let's check with Craig.
You're right. We mentioned how he had a great control in the warm-up, but the thing is stamina. He lost 7 pounds during the flu. He gained 3 of them back, but he still is not at full strength.
Thanks, Craig. Here's Knobloch taking a strike.
And that's 7 innings that Bobby Cox is looking for. I mean, that's optimistic. You know, to think that a guy coming off of the, the flu can give you that many. And Glavine has done a good job tonight to keep his pitch count down. So he's actually pitching about as well as he can, considering he's not throwing as many pitches as the Yankees would like to have him throw.
Knobloch bounces it back to Glavine. The Yankees have to content themselves with 1 on Chad Curtis's homer here in the 5th.
What would 5-2 Atlanta, and the question is that enough? Brett Boone has helped them to get that lead, and here's Brett Boone in the first inning. He goes the other way on a fastball away. Then his second time up, ball's out here again. He goes that way again. And he gets another base hit. Ball really traveling well to right field. Now, the next time up, you know he's not going to get a fastball away. He gets a curveball in, so he pulls it. Good hitting there by Boone. Good smart hitting. He knew exactly what Pettit was going to do to him. And one of the reasons the ball is carrying so well to right field, Bobby, is when I was here early in the year, I asked him, how do we know what the wind's doing? Because a lot of the flags blow in different directions. They say if it's blowing toward that speaker in center field, that means the ball is really going to carry well to right field. And that's what it's doing tonight.
Inside 2-0. You saw that graphic a moment ago. If anyone sitting at home said, oh, I knew that already, that Frank Isbell of the 1906 Chicago White Sox holds the World Series record with 4 doubles, I have only one thing to say. You're lying. The 2-0 in there. Let's check with Craig Sager.
Well, Bobby Cox is looking for 7 innings for Tom Glavine. He asked him how he felt moments ago, and Glavine said he thought he could go into the 8th inning. Cox said, well, just let me know, because I'll have Remlinger warming up. We'll stay with left-handers.
Good idea to stay with the left-handers.
Fouled off, especially on a night like this, to get some of the left-handed bats coming off the bench against righty pitching with the short porch to begin with, and the way the ball's carrying, not a good idea.
And we've always said that we feel that left-handed pitching is a little more stable against the Yankees than right-handed pitching is.
Grimsley's 2-2 pitch. Full count to Boone. The Brave bullpen is quiet, so it's in Glavine's hands for the moment. Boone lifts this one into shallow center field, and they'll retire him for the first time tonight as Bernie Williams takes it.
He gets a pitch to hit. He gets a 3-2 fastball. Looks like it gets the middle of the plate, and he doesn't hit it. Look at that, right there in the middle. He gets underneath it, and you can see that he's upset because he got it right on the good part of the bat, but he was underneath it. Look at him. He knows he had a pitch to hit, and he missed it.
Now Chipper from the left side against Grimsley.
Let's take a look. This is a spray chart on Chipper Jones, left-handed. You see a lot of his balls go to right field. A lot of his hits and a lot of his home runs go that way. And the short porch and the wind blowing out.
2-0. Chipper has something on his mind besides Game 3. He was represented by Bob Farley and Van Arden, 2 of those who perished along with I meant to say Bob Fraley and Van Arden, 2 of those who perished along with Payne Stewart in yesterday's plane crash. The 3-0 pitch to Chipper is taken for a strike.
And I think one of the reasons Chipper took that pitch is we've seen him swing 3-0 a lot in the postseason and swing at bad pitches and get himself out. He wants to be just a little more patient in this at bat.
And he draws a walk.
Well, if you're the Yankees and Chipper Jones is up, you do not want to give in to him right away. You try to throw him a little slider inside, sinker away, another sinker away, then you throw him a sinker over the outside part of the plate. And then you come back off the plate inside. If he wants to swing, you let him swing. But again, with the wind blowing out and the short porch in right field, doesn't add up to try to challenge him in that situation. Especially when you have 3 right-handers in a row coming up after him.
Jordan lifts this one down the left field line. Curtis over into foul ground. No play. And he gives it back to one of the fans who still can't handle it.
Bad hands. Bad hands.
Now he says, hey, I got to hand it to you because you have such bad hands. I got to make sure that you have this souvenir. Jordan with an RBI single sandwiched in between a pair of walks. Takes low and outside, 1-1. Ned Yost flashing the signs. Glenn Hubbard is the Braves coach at first. Chipper Jones with his lead. Andrew Jones on deck. And the 1-1 to Jordan. Fouled off. Out of the stretch, Jason Grimsley's move is so compact. I don't know of anyone who has a smaller motion when there are runners on base than Grimsley does.
Just kind of steps and throws.
Nothing elaborate about it at all. And Chipper skips back. For the year, he stole 25. With Pettit gone, the Braves might think about running. Not going. Rolled foul.
Let's take a look at this. Watch, he just steps and throws. He doesn't raise his leg up high. Just steps and throws to the plate. It's tough to get a good jump off of a pitcher that doesn't lift his leg and give you a little time to run from first base. El Duque would take his knee real high, but he shortens his as well with runners in scoring on first base.
1-2 pitch hit hard to short. Could be two. Jeter steps on the bag and fires it to Martinez to close the Braves out in the 6th.
He's out of a problem here in the top of the 6th inning. Ground ball at shortstop. The rule of thumb is if you have to take more than 3 steps, you go to the second baseman. He takes about 5 there and makes the throw. And again, he's probably trying to protect, his teammate, knowing that, Chuck's having throwing problems. He's making sure. But normally the rule of thumb, if you have to take more than 3 steps as a shortstop, you flip it to the second baseman.
And as Jeter leads off in the bottom of the 6th, here's what Jason Grimsley has given Joe Torre since he came on in the 4th. 2 1/3 innings of work, no runs, couple of hits, couple of walks, so he has had to work with runners on base. But he kept it at a 5-1 game, and then it became 5-2 on Curtis's homer, which is where we stand now. Jeff Nelson up in the pen. Jeter, O'Neill, and Williams against Glavine. Ball 1. Now remember, all of Hank Bauer's hits were in the World Series for the Yankees in the late 40s and 50s. Jeter skies one to left. Gerald Williams is going to take it. From the producers of Merlin and The Odyssey.
NBC, November 7th. A forbidden love leads to an epic battle to save the Earth. Leprechauns, coming to NBC 1 week from Sunday.
That would be November 7th. Here's Paul O'Neill with 1 out and nobody on. We were talking about O'Neill's affinity for baseball history. One of his prized possessions, as he fouls the first one off, is a picture of himself at the old Crosley Field in Cincinnati at age 6 in the right field seats striking a left-handed batting pose as Roberto Clemente patrols the outfield in the foreground. One and one. Loop down the left field line and in the seats. Roger Clemens is the starter for the Yankees tomorrow night. John Smoltz will oppose him for the Braves. Clemens sharp against Texas in the division series. Rocked at Fenway against the Red Sox in the LCS. Those are the combined numbers. The 1-2 pitch. Down and away.
Well, the one thing you want to do if you're Glavine is just stay away from Paul O'Neill. If he wants to pull the ball, try to, that's okay, but you do not want to give him anything that he can pull to that short porch in right field. And that's why you've seen him stay away from Paul O'Neill so far in this at bat.
And O'Neill with a little tap. Perez up with it, pegs it to Hunter for the out.
And that's that good sinker away. That's that good sinker away from Paul O'Neill, and this time he grounds it out in front of the plate. He checked his swing last time up, but this is just good pitching from Tom Glavine. See, that's a sinker out away from him. And with 2 strikes, Paul O'Neill in kind of a defensive mode, protecting with 2 strikes, but just a good pitch from Tom Glavine.
Paul O'Neill had the lowest batting average against left-handed pitching of any regular in the major leagues this year, 190, and yet in this series he's gotten RBI hits against Glavine and Rocker.
Well, he's also a very smart hitter. I mean, he handles situation hitting probably as good as anybody in the game. I mean, he knows exactly what he has to do in certain situations, and you saw in this early in this ball game, he just reached out and took the ball the other way when he had a runner in scoring position.
This is a key inning that Glavine is 2/3 of the way through. The second, third, and now Bernie Williams, 4th hitters in the Yankee lineup. The way this is going, they may come up only one more time in this game. Right field, Jordan to the edge of the track. Has it.
Well, he got that off the end of the bat.
A perfect 6th for Glavine. Still a 5-2 game. If he hadn't gotten well tonight, his team might have been on the critical list. As it is, they've got a chance to get back in the series, Joe.
62 pitches. That's amazing to go through a Yankee lineup that takes a lot of pitches normally and works you deep into the count. And in 6 innings, 62 pitches. That's amazing.
The Yankees, meanwhile, make a pitching change. Jason Grimsley gave Joe Torre 2 1/3 innings of strong work, and now Jeff Nelson comes on.
And maybe the fact that Bobby Cox was looking for 7 innings from Glavine is not too optimistic. There's Mike Stanton throwing in the bullpen. I think the Yankees are reaching a point where they do not want to fall any farther behind either, even though, you know, they're always capable of coming back. You do not want to let the Atlanta Braves score another run or 2 here and put the game away.
Andrew Jones 1 for 3 tonight. Still homerless in this postseason after hitting 26 of them during the regular year. Nelson moves him away. Nelson is an imposing figure on the mound. 6'8", 235 pounds. Almost right on top of you with that delivery, whipping it in their sidearm. A right-handed hitter's nightmare when that slider is biting.
It appears that he throws it right out of Scott Brocious' shirt. That's why it's so difficult for the right-hander to stay in there.
2-1 the count. All of a sudden, the bats come alive for Atlanta. Not in this at-bat for Jones. Brocious retires him. Scheduled after the game on most of these NBC stations, it's your late local news, followed by The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And for those of you who'd like to continue with the World Series, we'll have a post-game report on CNBC immediately following the game. The World Series post-game report on CNBC. Jose Hernandez, the DH, is 1 for 3. That one hit was big. A double that produced 2 in the third. A ball and a strike. Andy Pettitte was gone in the fourth. His team has gotten one back to make it 5-2. 1-2 to Jose Hernandez.
And he appears like he hurt his left hand a little bit on that swing. Watch him. It's the breaking ball is away from Hernandez. Watch, he reaches out and he rolls his hand and he takes his hand off. I think he might have hurt his hand just a little bit there.
Looking way down the road, and the Braves, remember, are just trying to get back in the series tonight. But if they do, and if by chance there's a 7th game, down goes Hernandez. Andy Pettitte would be the scheduled Yankee starter in Game 7. Now, he has pitched well in his outings in the Division Series and in the LCS. A bad showing tonight. Does that change Joe Torre's thinking?
Well, I think the Braves are lucky that Tom Glavine would be their 7th game start if it goes that way. I'm not sure that Joe would change his thinking on, Pettitte for the 7th game. I think it just depends on how the other pitchers pitch between now and the 7th game if it goes that far.
Remember 96. Terrible first start. Great second start against the Braves for Pettitte. The loser in a 12-1 game. Then the winner in a 1-0 classic.
I don't think anyone has their pitching rotation just set in stone at this point, because it depends on what happens in this game and the next 2 ball games here in Yankee Stadium. A lot of changes could be made between now and the 7th game on deciding who would start that game for you.
If we even get that far.
Right.
Back to Nelson. He sets them down in order in the 7th. Stretch time at the stadium. 5-2 Braves.
Which reminds you, one look says a lot. By Nortel Networks, how the world shares ideas. And by MasterCard. MasterCard, proud sponsor of Major League Baseball and fan of the great American pastime.
The Empire State Building lit up in blue and white for the Yankees. And NBC's headquarters, the GE Building. Joe, didn't I tell you to turn out the lights when you left? Man, what a waste. And of course, this view provided by the Bud 1 airship. Budweiser delivered fresh daily from a local brewery near you. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the World Series.
Well, this is the 7th inning, and this is what Bobby Cox is hoping to get out of Glavine. And he still looks like he's sharp. He's got a good sinker still working for him toward the outside corner.
There's action now in the Brave bullpen. Remlinger, the lefty. And Springer's the righty. Strike to Chili Davis, 0-2.
And when you look at the Yankee bench, you know, you want to stay away from Darryl Strawberry over there as a pinch hitter, and Ricky Leday. Other than that, on the right-hand side, you have Jim Leyritz capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. So you'd rather have a left-hander come in to relieve Glavine if you have the opportunity to do so.
Waste that one, 1-2. Davis, Martinez, and Brocious in the Yankee seventh. Crowd of 56,794 settling back in after the seventh inning stretch. And Davis sends the bat flying into that crowd as he goes down on strikes.
This is Tom Glavine at his best.
And it got somebody. We're holding our breath, but it appeared to conk a spectator. Chili Davis, one of the most pleasant men in baseball, and you could see the look of concern on his face as the bat sailed out of his hands, and he wonders how much damage it did. That was the third strikeout of the night for Glavine. Tino Martinez is 0 for 2. He drives one to deep right, and this one is not coming back.
We showed you against Paul O'Neill how Glavine was keeping the sinker away from him. Watch where this pitch is. Not exactly where he wants it. That ball gets the middle in, and Tino Martinez turns on it, and this ballpark can't hold that fly ball. Not where Glavine was trying to throw that pitch.
What was a 5-1 lead is now 5-3. Brocious fouls it into the Yankee dugout.
And this is why, as we talked in the fourth inning when it was 5-1, we said the Yankees may need some more run. I mean, the Braves may need some more runs to give themselves a working margin here, because the Yankees are always going to make a run after you.
1-1. The homers by Martinez and Curtis, the first two in the series for the Yankees. Fly ball center field. Andrew Jones barely has to move.
And we know the Yankees are capable of coming back. They've done it a lot of times. Look at that, from the seventh inning on. In the division series, they were 3-0, and in the LCS, they were 15-5. So they're scoring a lot of runs late in the ball game. Scored 4 in games 1 and 2. So they get a chance to see a pitcher a few times, get a chance to make adjustments, and they've been very difficult to put away.
Here's Curtis, who homered his last time up.
The 2 home runs they've hit have been on fastballs that are up and kind of in the middle of the plate. And both Martinez and Chad Curtis hit the ball. They hit the ball well into the right field bleachers.
Hit up the middle. To his left is Weiss. From behind the bag, got it. But the Yankees peck away. Glavine has worked the 7 innings Bobby Cox hoped for and leads it 5-3.
Well, you can see Bobby Cox there talking to Tom Glavine, and he says he has a lot of trust in his pitchers. They're going to be honest with him and tell him whether they have one more inning to go or what they can do. You see Bobby Cox trying to find with him. That nod of the head may mean I think I'm okay. It's something that Bobby's going to have to decide. But he thinks that these guys are very honest with him, so he gives them the opportunity to tell him whether they're finished or not.
Unlike a lot of modern managers, Bobby Cox does not do it by formula. He does it by feel.
Right.
Plays hunches a lot. And the key members of this team, especially the pitching staff, have been with him so long that he'll rely on what they tell him. Joe Torre got Nelson into the game in an inning that began with Andrew Jones, then Hernandez, then Perez. You've got Hunter, all right-handed hitters, well thought out by Joe. A good opportunity to keep the Braves in check while the Yankees try to rally.
But I think there are big decisions to be made by the Braves, because the fact that you're ahead 5-3 doesn't eliminate the fact that if you lose this ball game, the series is almost over. So this is still a tough situation for the Braves to decide whether to send Glavine back out there or bring someone in from the bullpen.
Girardi, hitting ninth, is scheduled to lead off the bottom of the eighth. Then Knobloch and Jeter. Called strike 3.
Nelson gets a fastball that tails back over the outside corner. You see it starts off the plate outside, kind of tails back, and he gets the call. And you see the Braves were ahead 5-1 at one time. Now it's 5-3, and that's well within the range of the Yankees.
And it's been Grimsley and Nelson who have given the Yankees a chance once Pettit was knocked out. A ball and a strike. Rocker gets up. The reception he got during the pregame introductions was just about as rude as what he experienced at Shea Stadium. Weiss fouls it off, 2-2. And a chant which is somewhat less than genteel begins, directed at Rocker, now that some of the fans see him in the bullpen. The fans out in those bleachers in left center field overlooking the visiting bullpen are not conducting a tea party out there. Still 2-2. Rocker, though, says he thrives on this stuff. Weiss stays alive. Rocker, as you know, comes tearing out of the bullpen. They open the door and he comes charging out toward the mound, and he says in his mind it's like when he played high school football and you're at home and you break through that banner, the whole team comes out onto the field on a Friday night. That's the surge he gets. Full count to Weiss. Rocker has been known to do the following. Now, I have never seen this, but I've heard that just to get himself pumped up, sometimes while he's warming up, he lets the return throw from the catcher hit him in the chest. This is a different sort of young man. And Weiss skies one to left that Chad Curtis will take care of. Game 4 is tomorrow night at 8 Eastern here on NBC. It's John Smoltz for the Braves. It's Roger Clemens for the Yankees. The question is, will the Yankees be going for a sweep, or are the Braves back in it entering Game 4? 11 teams have come back from 2-0 to win the World Series, and additional teams have done it in other rounds of the playoffs. No team has ever come back from 3-0 to win any series at any time in baseball history. Williams is 2 for 4, A single and a triple.
Rocker doesn't seem to be going all out in the bullpen like he's coming in to start the inning. Maybe someone's going to start the inning, and the first sign of trouble, Bobby Cox is going to bring him in.
Big Jeff Nelson has faced 5 hitters. He's retired them all. That one's high. Bobby Cox, who says the guy he has modeled himself most closely after as a manager is his old Yankee manager, Ralph Houck. Cox came up to the big leagues in 1968, and the major was still the Yankee manager then. Swing and a miss, 1-2. He says that Houck was as tough as could be, but also very fair and compassionate, and had a feel for the lesser players on a team, keeping them involved and letting him know that he appreciated their contributions. That's one of Cox's strong points as well. A fly ball to left. 6 up and 6 down against Nelson as he gives the Yankees a chance to come back. To the bottom of the 8th with New York trailing by 2.
Okay.
Having thrown 72 pitches through 7, Glavine will start the 8th.
Well, Bobby Cox was optimistic in saying he wanted him to go 7. Glavine said he felt so good he could go 8, so he's back out there for the 8th inning. But I'll guarantee the first sign of trouble, Bobby's going to go to the bullpen.
First man Glavine faces in the 8th is Girardi, who's had 2 good at-bats against him. He lined it deep right. A tremendous leaping catch out there by Brian Jordan. Then he singled. And he goes to the opposite field for a leadoff hit. Will Glavine's first pitch of the inning be his last? We'll see.
Well, we've seen both teams do a good job of eventually adjusting. We saw Girardi go to right field. Brian Jordan made a fine catch. And then he singled to right. Now another fastball out there. He singles to right again. Good job of hitting there by Girardi, and he brings the tying run to the plate for the Yankees.
Yankee bench reacting.
And the
Rocker throwing in earnest now.
And the one thing to remember, the Yankees never panic. They always think they have a chance of coming back.
Knobloch is capable of tying the game. He hit 18 homers this year. Ball 1. Meanwhile, Rivera getting ready with Brett Boone, Chipper Jones, and Brian Jordan due in the top of the 9th. Off day yesterday. Joe Torre can certainly have him throw an inning to keep this one close. Two and 0.
Well, Joe's hoping that he can put some numbers on the board and he'll come in to close out the 9th. That's probably part of his thinking right now, not just to hold it close. He feels that the 8th inning has been the Yankees' inning, and they have an opportunity to get back in this game or at least tie it here in the 8th inning.
In the air to right. Jordan going back to the track, to the wall. And he cannot come up with it. It's a tie ball game. A home run by about half an inch.
Well, we talked about decisions you have to make as a manager. And here we see the ball traveling well to right field. It actually looks like it hit off of his glove maybe, but he had such a bad angle to get to it that the ball bounces off and goes into the seats. Let's take a look here.
I think it hit the top of the wall.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it hit his glove. We'll have to take another look there.
Well, he was looking in it as if he might have gotten some leather on it.
That ball hits off his glove.
Well, it was both.
Yeah,
it hit his glove and then hit the top of the wall.
Such an awkward position for Jordan to make the catch on. He tries right there, and it hits off of his glove, and he can't bring it back.
Glavine's gone. Knobloch celebrating. The game is tied.
Five runs were not enough to hold off the Yankees. They were ahead 5-1. The ball has been carrying very, very well to right field. Now watch Jordan leaps. He gets a glove on it, but he can't bring it back in the park. Watch this. It hits off the left side of his glove right there, and he's not able to bring it back. I think when he hit I think his glove hit the railing and kept him from closing the glove. You know, in the first inning he missed the ball, but this was a much tougher play right here. And his glove, I think, hits the wall, and that kept him from closing his glove and bringing it back in. But the Yankees are an experienced ball club, and they just never panic.
So now Cox and Mazzoni regretting the decision to allow Glavine to come out for the 8th. He threw 7 innings plus, allowed 7 hits, but 3 of them went for the distance. So Rocker comes into a tie game to face Jeter, O'Neill, Williams. And he gets ahead of Derek 0-2.
Well, Bobby, it's very demoralizing when you have a 5-1 lead and they keep pecking away at you and finally catch you in the 8th inning. And now you're in a situation, if they score 1 run, you know you're going to be looking at Rivera.
He fists one into shallow center, and it drops for a hit.
Well, the Yankees, you know, they put the ball in play with 2 strikes. This is a good pitch by Rocker, and you can see all he did was fight it off, but he's strong enough. You see there, he just shortens his arm, pulls him in, and fights it off, and he gets enough of it because he's strong enough. He gets it over the infield. Now, if you're Joe Torre, what do? Do you let Paul O'Neill go ahead and swing away, or do you maybe take a chance and try to bunt the winning run to second base?
That one hit that you saw in game 1 on the screen a moment ago was a 2-run single through a drawn-in infield against Rocker. He looks to bunt and he pops it up.
Good
Hunter lets it drop so he can erase Jeter. But O'Neill wasn't running hard, and they get the double play. Now that was a rare mental error on the part of Paul O'Neill.
A nice play at first base by Hunter. He realizes that O'Neill wasn't running. Now watch this. He'll realize he sees the ball there, so he comes in. He sees O'Neill not running. He lets it bounce. Rocker's helping him. Now he fires to second. He knows he's got 1, and the return throw to the second baseman is in time for a double play. See, O'Neill didn't run. Now he realizes that he's going to drop it, and you can throw. The only time you can drop a ball intentionally on the infield is on a bunt. If that's a pop-up, you can't drop the ball.
That would have been a good play even had O'Neill been running hard, because you erase the superior runner, Derek Jeter. Exactly. They got a bonus when O'Neill went into brain lock for a moment, and they get the double play. Bernie Williams.
I thought Torrey might, go ahead and bunt in that situation just to try to put more pressure on the Braves by putting the go-ahead run at second base.
That's a strike.
And again, with Bernie Williams up there and the ball carrying so well to right field, John Rocker has to make a decision whether he's going to try to come in on him or stay away. It's tough to pitch him away with the ball carrying so well to right field. So he throws him some off-speed stuff to make him pull the ball if anything happens. Good curveball from Rocker. It actually starts in the strike zone and breaks out. There you see it. It's a ball by the time it gets to the plate, but it's a good pitch.
Rocker has a very good curve to go with an overpowering fastball.
Perez called for a fastball away. Rocker said no. And now he's saying let's start over again.
And now he wants to talk with Perez.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Rocker's feeling that if he goes away and Bernie Williams gets the ball up towards right field, that this ballpark won't hold it. But he says okay to whatever Perez told him when he went out there. And I think it's important that they both get on the same wavelength in this situation, because one swing of the bat and this ball game can be basically over because Rivera is ready.
Center field, Andrew Jones. The 8th is history, but the Yankees tie it on Knobloch's home run. On to the 9th.
NBC's coverage of the 1999 World Series is brought to you by American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. And by Lexmark and their passion for printing ideas.
Well, John Rocker helps his first baseman out right here. See, he sees that O'Neill's not running right there. He says, drop it, drop it, drop it. And Brian Hunter and he get on the same wavelength. They drop it, and then when he comes into the dugout, you see he's all excited. He's trying to pump his teammates up. And he does a pretty good job of showing that his intensity level is high.
Mariano Rivera out of the bullpen in a tie game. He didn't work in game 2. Yesterday was an off day, so he could throw a couple of innings here.
Well, the point is you're not going to get a save in this situation if you're Rivera. You're not going to have an opportunity to in a tie ball game, and you're at home. So if you're Joe Torre, you want to hold the team right here and give your team a chance to come out and win it in the bottom of the 9th. That's why you send Rivera out there right now. You just want him to hold it right where it is, and you guys get back in with everything on your side in the bottom of the 9th.
So Torre calls on a guy who has given up exactly 1 run since July 16th, since he blew a save in this ballpark against the Braves.
And you see Girardi working him right there. He stood way up above the strike zone. He wanted that high fastball, and he got it. But Boone, pretty good high fastball hitter, got a piece of it anyway to foul it back.
In this postseason, Rivera is 1-0 with 5 saves through 9 scoreless innings. Boone takes him the opposite way for his 4th hit of the night.
You've got to give this guy a lot of credit because, I mean, he has showed us a lot of discipline tonight. Hasn't tried to do too much. He's just gone the other way. This is that cut fastball away from Rivera. See it cut, and he just slaps it the other way for a base hit. That's good hitting. A lot of times in the past, Boone with 2 strikes, he wouldn't cut down on his swing. But, I mean, you've seen a guy really at the top of his game tonight, I should say. And now you're going to see Otis Nixon come in.
Not a bad move.
I think it's a great move because Rivera, like most stoppers, do not have a good pickoff move. You know, they relax a little bit into their own mode, and you get an opportunity to steal a base here if you're the Braves.
And down goes Brett Boone, doing a Karnak-like pratfall over the top step. He's okay.
But here's the point here, Bob. If you're going to steal a base, you try to steal it early, so that if you do steal a base, you give Chipper Jones a chance to pull the ball to the right side and move you over to third base with less than 2 outs.
Chipper's 1 for 3 with a walk and an RBI ground out. Ball 1 to him. In 44 innings of postseason pitching in his still young career, Mariano Rivera has allowed 2 earned runs.
Nixon had him timed pretty well there, but I don't think he could believe the good jump that he had, so he didn't go.
He goes.
Yeah.
Here's Girardi's throw. They got him.
Good play by Girardi to get it down there. The ball bounced, but it was right on target. That was the key. He had it right on target. See, Nixon, you can see him going. You can see him reading Rivera. He looks in. Now watch this ball. It bounces right on target. Right there. So it bounces, but it's right on the left side of the bag, on the right side of the bag. And all Jeter has to do is tag him right there. Look at that. Perfect.
And strike 1 to Chipper. 2 balls and a strike.
I think if you're Nixon, you do the right thing. You have to try to steal that base so that if, you know, Chipper gets a chance to pull the ball to the right side. I mean, that's why they put him at first base, to try to steal the base. And he gave it his best shot.
The 3-1 pitch. Jones can't catch up with it.
And he just keeps burying that cut fastball in on the left-handers and away on the right-handers.
The 3-2. Struck him out.
How good is this guy? I mean, he is just magnificent. I mean, here he goes with a little sinker. He turns this one over to Chipper Jones. He's thrown him all different kinds of pitches. What did he do? Come with a sinker on 3-2. You see the movement, late movement on that ball. Girardi has to catch it just before it hits the ground. So this guy has all kind of weapons to attack a hitter with.
Brian Jordan takes a ball. Scheduled hitters, bottom of the 9th. Chili Davis, Tino Martinez, Scott Brocious. Fouled down the right field line and into the upper deck.
Well, I think if you're the Braves, you're going to have to leave Rocker out there. I don't think you can bring anyone else in at this point, even if you do not score here in the top of the 9th.
Up and in, 2-1. There's no action in the Atlanta bullpen, so it's Rocker and Rivera, at least for now. And the 2-1 pitch is bounced to short. Nice hop for Jeter. To the bottom of the 9th we go at Yankee Stadium. That's Girardi's reaction as he nails Nixon. New second baseman for Atlanta, Brett Boone, after a 4-for-5 night. Went out as Otis Nixon came in to run for him. Keith Lockhart takes Boone's place in the field. At age 39, the book on Chili Davis is that he's lost some bat speed. You wonder if he can turn the dial up enough to catch up with the heat of John Rocker.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him. He's also a very intelligent hitter.
Here we go in the last of the ninth. Ball one. Two and 0. The next run, certainly if it's scored by the Yankees, likely if it's scored by the Braves, determines whether we're on the verge of a sweep or whether it's a series again. The 2-0 pitch in there. Relaxed and confident Yankee bench.
They never panic. They just seem to know exactly what they want to do and how to do it.
2-2 to Chili Davis. New York has climbed back out of a 5-1 hole to a tie game in the ninth. Knobloch finished that job with a 2-run homer that evened it at 5 in the last half of the eighth. And Davis goes down swinging, and Rocker did throw the fastball by him.
And Tino Martinez can hit the ball out of this ballpark, especially if you get it middle in, as Tom Glavine did. That really put the Yankees back within striking distance. That made it a 5-3 ball game. And that was in the 7th inning. They were able to tie it in the 8th.
The ball Chuck Knobloch hit to tie the game would not have been out of most parks, and likely would not have been out of this park on most nights. But the way the ball was carrying to right field, it made it literally by inches. Ball one to Martinez. A chant of Tino, Tino at Yankee Stadium. Scott Brocious is on deck. And the 1-0 pitch. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, John Rocker kind of looked in a little bit after this pitch. He thought it might catch the corner, but it looks like it's off the plate as you see Perez bring it back in. But he's doing right, trying to stay away from Tino, especially now that he's behind in the count.
Dangerous pitch for him. He gets the called strike. The 2-1 to Martinez. 3 balls and a strike. Is he looking now for specifically a pitch he can drive out of the park?
Well, I would think so. You're looking for something middle of the plate in that you know if you can get it up in the air toward right field, it might go. And since you're ahead in the count, you have a couple of pitches to play with.
He pops it up. Chipper Jones backpedaling at third. Into foul ground to take it.
Well, he got a fastball out over the plate. Pretty good pitch there from Rocker because it had good velocity on it. Tino was not able to pull it. Here it is, a fastball away. And it's running away. See, he hits it toward the end of the bat. He wasn't able to bring it back. And that's tough to do if you're a left-handed hitter off a Rocker. Chipper Jones about to make the catch.
And something comes flying out of the stands at him. Luckily, it didn't strike him.
Question is, You hope the umpire saw that if he would have dropped it or something.
Because the ump could rule it an out.
Yes. Have to be very careful with Scott Brocious. He's a good fastball hitter, and if he can get ahead in the count, he usually takes a shot at it.
0 for 3 tonight. Strike one.
Real good fastball right there from Rocker.
If Rocker gets out of the ninth, it's Andrew Jones, Jose Hernandez, Eddie Perez in the Atlanta 10th. One and one. For the year, Brocious had 17 homers. He hit a couple in the ALCS against the Red Sox. He bloops this one out towards short. Weiss squeezes it and will play extra innings, which will bring you after these words from your local stations. This is Mariano Rivera's second inning of work. Andrew Jones, who's 1 for 4, will face him. The second of the 2 home runs allowed this season by Mariano Rivera was hit by Andrew Jones in this ballpark in July. Strike one. Here it is on July 16th. That's the last time Rivera blew a save. High fastball up around his neck. He tomahawks it out of the park. Back live, hits one toward the middle. Knobloch from the grass. Good throw.
Andrew Jones likes the ball middle of the plate in. That's the home run he hit off of Rivera. He gets this ball away. You see, he hits it hard, though. Good swing there by Jones. He hits it to the second baseman, and he throws him out at first base.
The DH's spot comes up now, and so does Ozzie Guillen to bat for Jose Hernandez. So Guillen can stay in the game as the DH.
And Guillen has proven that he can turn on the fastballs. He had the best at bats against Armando Benitez of the Mets in the LCS, and I'm sure he thinks that he can handle Rivera's fastball too. It's not just to handle Rivera's speed on his fastball. He has that little cut fastball, and there's such a late break. It just moves in on you if you're a left-handed hitter and moves away if you're a right-handed hitter. It's not like a slider where you can read it. It's a cut fastball with you can't even see the rotation.
And Rivera gets ahead 0-2. While we have a chance, here's a report on the boy who was hit on the head by the bat that slipped out of Chili Davis's hand as he struck out in the 7th. A 9-year-old boy was hit on the forehead. He was taken to the first aid room here at Yankee Stadium. He was able to walk and talk. He never lost consciousness. No bleeding, but a large welt on his forehead. So they took him to the hospital to be examined as a precautionary measure. We're told he had the bat with him in the ambulance as they drove him off. 1-2. Up in his eyes, and he fouls it back. Remlinger getting ready. Quite possible that he'll be in for Rocker in the bottom half of this inning.
I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to take Rocker out for a couple of reasons. One, he's thrown 2 innings, and if the Braves can score a run or win this ball game, they're going to need Rocker the rest of the way.
Let's go to Craig.
It appears there'll be a double switch because Ryan Klesko's on deck, and then Greg Myers is ready to catch for Eddie Perez.
Roll to first and foul.
Another good pitch there by Rivera.
One out, nobody on. The 1-2 pitch struck him out with high heat.
Again, it proven that he could get to the fastball. So what does Rivera do? Throw it up and out of the strike zone. Look at this. Way up. You can't get to that one. He had been fouling off the good pitches. So Rivera just throws one a little higher than he can reach.
So here comes Ryan Klesko. A threat, especially in this ballpark. 21 homers for the year. Inside, ball one.
The Yankees have pitched Klesko inside the entire series, so you can expect, you know, Rivera to throw in off the plate too. They don't want him to get something out over the plate where he can extend on.
He pops it up. Girardi off with the mask, back near the screen. No play.
The tough thing for a left-handed hitter against Rivera is that fastball starts on the inside corner and it looks pretty good, but by the time you start to it and it jumps at you, it's almost impossible to keep it fair.
1-1 pitch, broken bat, Knobloch, a leaping attempt, but he can't get it.
There it is. He got a break because there's that cut fastball inside, just jams him, shatters his bat, but he gets enough of it to get the ball over the infield. Now watch, he takes a big swing, but look at that, he just can't get to it. But he gets enough of it that it's a base hit in the right field.
So Klesko's at first, and now Brian Hunter is called back, and Greg Myers will bat for him. So in the bottom of the 10th, Myers will catch with Perez out, and Klesko will become the first baseman with Hunter out. But you have the lesser glove man at first in Klesko.
Well, if you're Bobby Cox, you have to score a run. That's your main objective right now, is to score a run. You've lost all your opportunity to just play defense in this ball game.
Myers had a couple of hits in game 2, which he started. Nubbed foul, 0-2.
The thing about Rivera is that, I mean, he just seems to never make a mistake with that cut fastball. I mean, he always gets it exactly where he wants. He starts it right on that inside corner to the left-handers and moves off. If you're a right-handed hitter, he starts it right on the outside corner and moves off. I mean, he just does not make any mistakes with that pitch. He never leaves it out over the plate.
Here's the 0-2. Myers checks his swing. Mariano Rivera. Well, let's take a look at this 0-2 pitch.
Well, he's got 2 strikes. He tries to get Myers to chase that pitch that Ozzie Guillen struck out on. He doesn't do so. Well, he finally left one over the plate. Now watch this pitch. This is the first pitch since he's been in the ball game that he left in the middle of the plate. Watch where it is. It's a cut fastball, but it's right there. And Myers misses it, probably because he had 2 strikes and he's protecting a little bit.
Another 1-2 pitch. Hit toward the hole. Martinez to his right to pick it up and step on the bag. To the bottom of the 10th. Rocker's done. Remlinger's in. 10-1 for the regular season. There are his numbers in the playoffs and World Series. A 33-year-old Dartmouth graduate. And this is a huge inning of work. Obviously, everyone is in extra innings, but Mariano Rivera has not thrown more than 2 innings at any time this year. Joe Torre has used him for 2 innings several times, but never beyond that. And so, if Remlinger can get the Yankees out in the 10th, the invincible Rivera is gone, and not that Ramiro Mendoza is any slouch, but they'd have a chance against him in the 11th.
No doubt that both teams are looking at it that way. I'm sure Joe Torre is saying, hey, we got Rocker out of there. This is our opportunity to score against Remlinger. And then it switches to Bobby Cox's side. So now you're going to end up with your 2 stoppers out of the ball game. As we see Greg Myers, the new catcher for the Braves. Ryan Klesko over at first base.
So the pinch hitters stay in the game. And Curtis, who's 1 for 3, but that one was a home run, leads it off in the 10th against Remlinger. Girardi on deck, and then Knobloch. Foul to the seats.
Very important pitch there for Remlinger, just to get out in front. See, the one thing you have to do at this stage is you have to stay in front of the hitters if you're the visiting team. And the Yankees have a chance of winning the ball game with 1 run. You have to stay in front. You pitch from behind and you're going to get hurt.
Curtis hit .262 for the year with 5 home runs. Remlinger's 0-1 pitch is high.
Bobby's had to make some tough decisions in this ball game, and I think the toughest one was whether to leave Tom Glavine in to start the 8th inning or not when he had a 2-run lead. That was a very difficult decision to make.
In the air to left. It's deep. It's very deep. It's 3-0 Yankees in the series. They'll have the brooms at the ready tomorrow night because Chad Curtis, a man who hit 5 home runs all year, clouded 2 tonight.
And Bob, how good are these Yankees? I mean, they are just an excellent ball club. They keep coming from behind until they get you on the chopping block. Fastball looks like it gets the middle of the plate and down, and you see Curtis knows right away that he got enough of it. That's the game winner.
The Yankees have won 11 consecutive World Series games, and they're on the verge of their 2nd straight World Series sweep, courtesy of Curtis. The man of the hour is with Jim Gray.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob. Chad, tell us about that pitch.
I can't do it. You know, as a team, we kind of decided that, you know, we because of what happened with Pete, we're not going to talk out here on the field. I do want to say that was for you, though, Grandma. Thanks.
Well, Chad, you don't want to talk about the home run? All right, Bob. Back upstairs to you.
All right, Jim. Chad Curtis is the Chevrolet player of the game. His homer started the comeback from 5-1, made it 5-2. And then in the bottom of the 10th, the first and only man faced by Remlinger, he drives one over the fence and left to win it 6-5.
And again, you have to give this entire ball club a lot of credit. Chad Curtis is the hero tonight, but there were so many other heroes. I mean, they just kept coming back. Jeff Nelson pitched great. Grayson Grimsley, they held the Braves until they were able to come back. And Chad Curtis puts the crowning touch on with this swing. And right there, he knows the game is over, and so does his Yankee teammates.
And this, therefore, is the Merrill Lynch play of the game. There's a new way to work with Merrill Lynch. It's any way you want. This is the first time a World Series game has ended on a walk-off home run since Game 6 in 1993, when Joe Carter's homer at Skydome won the series off Mitch Williams and the Phillies. This one puts the Yankees at the brink of victory, up 3-0 in the series. The Braves had their chance tonight. Glavine was working on a fine ball game and had a 5-1 lead. They could not hold it. So in 10 innings, the final score, The Yankees 6 and the Braves 5. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, we're back here in the Bronx. Game 4. Clemens against Smoltz. Tonight, after your late local news, it's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Tonight, Sammy Sosa.